questions for you. It won't take too long.
Absolutely.
So I was at the Rotary Club event, and I think you went first at that one, so let's start with having you go first.
All right.
Keep it fair. So the first thing I wanted to know is, what do both of you want voters to know about you to help them decide who to vote for?
I think the biggest thing that I would hope voters know about me is my experience. I have been an attorney for over 20 years. I've been a prosecutor for almost 19 as an assistant, and also was an intern for another year in the Waukesha County DA's office. I have prosecuted everything. I'm one of the few people around who can say I've had a mayhem case. So I have prosecuted everything. I've done homicides. I have argued for victims for 19 years. I have been very close with law enforcement for 19 years. I have the distinct privilege of having both the Victim Witness Office and the Janesville Police Department nominate me for the Wisconsin Department of Justice Prosecutor of the Year. So I have done a lot of work for a lot of time. I have dealt with victims on a daily basis. I've been able to sit and listen to their stories and help try to make things better for them. Certainly we can never make them completely whole, but I've fought very hard for a very long time for victims, fought long for law enforcement. So certainly my experience, I have been a resident of Walworth County for 14 years. My wife and I have paid property taxes for 14 years. Our kids were born in Walworth County. They go to school in Walworth County. They played baseball in Walworth County. So though I have a great amount of experience in the law, obviously Wisconsin law applies across the state, we have made our roots in Walworth County. This is where we plan to keep our family going, and I really want to be able to help out, use all that experience that I've been able to get with a lot of cases that simply haven't been seen here, use all that experience to help the community which we're raising our children.
I want Walworth County voters to know that I have Walworth County experience. I worked as an assistant DA in Walworth County for 5 years prosecuting cases. I handled a wide variety of cases there, had over 40 jury trials during my time there. I argued to the state Supreme Court during that period of time, and I really developed those relationships with the agencies in Walworth County. I prosecuted drug cases with the Drug Task Force. I prosecuted domestic violence cases with the Association for Prevention of Family Violence. I worked with the Treehouse on child abuse and child sexual assault cases. And I worked with the Department of Human Services to provide services for, work with delinquency cases and provide services to juveniles. So I worked with a lot of the people known in Walworth County and with Walworth County law enforcement. That's why I'm lucky to be endorsed by over 100 members of law enforcement in Walworth County. After my 5 years as an assistant DA, I worked as a court commissioner for the last 3 years. So not only do I have perspective of a prosecutor arguing cases, but I also have experience as a court commissioner presiding over cases, having attorneys argue to me and then applying the law fairly based on the evidence presented. So during my time as a court commissioner, I was signing search warrants, I was presiding over cases, working with attorneys, working with judges to make sure that people are treated fairly. So I want voters to know that I have Walworth County experience and that they can talk to people about me to learn more about me. It's not just that I'm here pitching myself today. They can talk to law enforcement officers, talk to people who've seen me in court. You can ask people about me because they've seen me and know me.
So what do each of you see as the biggest issue in Walworth County that needs to be addressed by the district attorney's office? And I guess if you could talk about how you begin to make more about that issue if you were elected.
Do you want me to go first this time?
Sure. Yeah, we can go back.
Okay, whatever's fair. I think the biggest issue facing Walworth County is technology. The DA's office is facing a time right now where crimes and criminals are using technology to their advantage. Drug dealers are communicating through their phones and through the internet. Child solicitation and child prostitution is taking place online, and there's child pornography is much easier to get through the internet. All these different crimes and groups are using technology to their advantage. And I think as prosecutors we need to be better at using technology to our advantage. There's going to be some technology changes that are required in the future. It's going to be mandatory that we file complaints electronically, but hopefully we can get ahead of the curve and do those even sooner, because it is more efficient for office to be filing those electronically. Things like electronic discovery, where information is exchanged between attorneys electronically rather than making photocopies sort of the old-fashioned way, can really save a lot of time for our office. So there's ways that we can use technology to be more efficient, and to prosecute cases through search warrants on computers and seizing that information. So I think that's the biggest challenge facing the county in the near future.
I think the biggest issue for the county is experience. All of the technological issues that have just been brought up, we've been doing for years. I've been dealing with electronic discovery for at least 7 years. We've been filing complaints electronically for years. Those are things that I've already experienced. I am a main attorney on all the child sexual assault cases, all the child abuse cases, all the sexual assault of adult cases. I'm a liaison with the Domestic Violence Intervention Program. I am an individual who has worked very closely with law enforcement, both in individual cases and as a liaison from the district attorney's office. So I've already had the experience that Mr. Wiedenfeld's already discussing now. I've been doing that for a very long period of time. The state has been hemorrhaging experienced attorneys for a very long time, and it's been no different in Walworth County. We have 2 attorneys who are around a year experience. You're not going to be as good at that point in time as you are if you have 19 years experience, as I do. The biggest thing I think facing the district attorney's office is you need to have the people with the experience be able to step up, mentor the younger people, and be there for law enforcement. The people who have already seen it, who have already done it, are there answering phones. I do that now. I answer phones throughout the night. And that's as an assistant district attorney. It will be no different. Actually, it will be more as the district attorney. What we need to focus on is making this community safer, however it needs to be done. We can't be so single-sighted, and when you have less experience, you get into that, lock them up, throw them away the key, that's all you do. You can't do that. In order to make a community safer, that actually makes a community less safe, because you have individuals who you can get the right treatment, who can take care of their issues and come back and be functioning members of society. I've seen those cases, I've done those cases. I've also been the only one in this race, who has argued multiple times for life means life on killers. I have stood head to toe in a courtroom, cross-examining killers a foot apart. I've done that, I have that experience. People who have killed people in broad daylight. People who have killed multiple people at one time. People who have wielded axes into the heads of their former girlfriends and other people. I've done that kind of work. I've worked very hard. I haven't been running around trying to get people to like me. I've been running around doing the work of a prosecutor for 19 years. I haven't paused from that. That is my vocation. So I think when you look at what this office needs experience. Because with experience becomes knowledge. You're able to use the resources you have, and they are limited. We do not have unlimited resources in the prosecution realm. And whether you want to say it's a certain county experience, that doesn't matter, because when you're looking at a case, it's not because you have friends on a police department that you're making decisions. You're making decisions because you've done it before and you know what will be best for the community and how to keep the community safe.
So this was kind of touched on at the Rotary Club event when you both spoke, but how would you handle more lower level crimes, say like marijuana possession or something like that? I know the Rotary Club will talk a little bit more about higher level crimes.
I guess that one's mine. Lower level crimes. There are entry level crimes that will move someone through the system. It's how you attack those at an early stage. Because most of the people who commit, say, thefts at a store or young misdemeanor marijuana possession or things along those lines, I've had the experience of sending marijuana dealers, drug dealers, heroin dealers to prison for decades. Those are arguments I've made. I've worked on drug cases for all 19 years that I've been in. But what I've learned from that is if you give somebody an opportunity to make up for their mistakes, if you look at the risk assessments and if you look at the risk levels of the individuals, and you give them an opportunity to overcome that mistake. For example, if somebody is convicted of a drug case, they can't get federal loans. So they can't go to college oftentimes because they don't have the money to do it. If you give them an opportunity to have enough rope to either swing to safety or hang themselves, then you're in a better position to protect the risk in the community. You're making the community safer. One of the ways that I would propose we look at is we're facing as a state the new evidence-based decision-making is what we're looking at as a state, in the state system. I've already been involved in that. I've gone to meetings on it. I've actually seen programs work. We have some of those in Walworth County. We have drug courts. We have OWI courts. Those give you more bang for your buck because you are able to look at people who have issues, stop those issues, and get them back working in the community. Because the number one way to stop people from committing crimes is to get them working and paying taxes in the community. What you do is you have different deferred programs, for example, or domestic violence intervention programs. I've worked with those for 19 years. Deferred prosecution, many people say, is, oh, you get a file, you throw it on your desk, and if they've done great in a year, then we dismiss it. That's not what a deferred prosecution program is. A deferred prosecution program is getting people the help that they need. In the counties in which I've worked, we actually have one in the district attorney's office, in which people go to the counselors who are there. Now, it's one of those quasi-separate departments because we want the counselors to have some confidentiality so they can help the people or arrange for treatment outside of the program, whatever it may be. But if you get somebody who is a lower level, like I want to say, dumb kid problem, it's better to nip that early. So deferred prosecution agreements. You can use what we have developed as a hold open agreement. That was something I developed about 10 years ago now, 10 or 12 years ago, in which, let's say somebody commits a low-level felony. They steal over $500 from a store, or they do something that is out of character for them. You have them plead to the charge. They now have that hanging over their head, but you ask the court not to enter judgment on that. You convict them of misdemeanors. You send them through probation. You've now given an opportunity to somebody who, say, is a single mom, who, if they get that felony, will never have a job. And now you've impacted a whole new set of people, the children of that mom. You get the victims paid for right away. You get restitution up front. You get things that will help the victim right away. And then you allow them to go through probation. If they fail, judgment's entered on the felony immediately. If they succeed, you agree to dismiss that felony. They have a misdemeanor record, but that allows them to go out and get a job. You have to be creative because, as I said, we don't have all the resources. If we want to build 100 more prisons in the state, we could certainly fill them. But that's not what we're looking to do. What we're looking to do is make the community safer. You need to use the evidence-based programming that is available out there and is coming. Whether we like it or not, it's coming for the entire state. You need to use those techniques to nip the crime, if you can, at the lower level, but be prepared to then use your resources on the higher level cases, the important cases, the homicides, the large drug dealers. I'd rather punish a drug dealer who's in it for profit and who destroys a community than a user dealer who can get the treatment and can get services that will make them a functioning member of society.
I agree that community safety is the top priority. I think we're lucky in Walworth County that we don't have the high crime rates that are being experienced in Rock County. I don't think that's just a coincidence, and I don't think it's something we should take for granted. I think it's because what we do in Walworth County works. We work with law enforcement and develop a system where there's a lot of services offered to people. Our Department of Human Services offers treatment services, counseling services. Our juvenile delinquency programs offer services to people early on in the system, before they get in the system, to let people help themselves. So I think treatment options and helping people, we're already doing that before somebody enters the criminal justice system. When somebody makes those bad decisions, then it's the district attorney's office job, and it's not an easy job, to make charging decisions. And there's a lot of low-level crimes that frankly don't warrant criminal prosecutions that are resolved with a ticket. There's kids who get in trouble who steal a candy bar who don't need a year of counseling and a year of therapy. They need somebody to hold them accountable and teach them that it's wrong. So there's a wide range of low-level offenses that can be dealt with citations. The next level up are people who really are a risk to the public or who need more supervision and counseling, and those people can be handled through our probation system. They can be supervised, they can be monitored, they can be ordered into treatment, and then they have an agent who is watching them directly, monitoring them, and holding them accountable. Prosecutors aren't probation agents. We shouldn't be holding files on our desks, waiting to see how people do and then making charging decisions later. It's not the way the system's designed, and it's really not the fair way to do things. You shouldn't have a victim of a crime waiting a year before they find out whether or not there's going to be a charge filed, or if there is going to be a charge filed, what the person's going to be convicted of. Victims want to know what happened, and they want the case resolved quickly. So I think that we offer a lot of services here in Walworth County, and I think what we're doing works, and we need to keep doing what works, but also keep an open mind. There's new research coming out regarding treatment courts. We've been working with treatment courts. I was involved with the OWI court, and as a court commissioner I presided over treatment courts in Walworth County. So there's things that we're trying out that are new, which are beneficial to Walworth County, but we need to make sure that we're watching the data on those programs, make sure that we're doing what works, and not just investing and throwing money at programs that don't work.
Can I have a little follow-up on that, because there are a couple of things that were said. First off, a deferred prosecution program, you're charging. The charges are made initially. You're not waiting a year. The charges are made, and then they're referred to the program. So it's not waiting a year with it sitting on your desk. That's not what a deferred prosecution program is. And when we want to compare crime rates, the Janesville Gazette just had a large front-page article which shows what the crime rates have been. Over the last 20 years, they have been declining every year for 20 years. We've had different police chiefs, we've had different judges, but what we have had is the same prosecutorial staff. It's the experience of the prosecutorial staff which has aided in the massive decline of crime rates over 20 years.
Can I respond to that briefly? Crime rates are often confused with charging rates. So when we have a system set up to eliminate charging or to eliminate convictions, like a deferred prosecution system, of course charges are going to go down or convictions are going to go down. That doesn't necessarily mean that a crime level is going down. Yes.
Let me follow up a little bit on that.
Sure.
If you look at what we've actually done, we charge crime. We continually charge crime, and we continually have a lowering crime rate, meaning the crimes are not being committed. It's not a situation where the crimes are taken away from us or we're fudging numbers. We're charging the crime. We're charging crime when state rates show that we need a heck of a lot more bodies. The reason that we need more bodies is because we're losing experience, because a more experienced attorney handles more, covers more, and knows what to do to keep the community safe. It is not a situation where our numbers are artificially low because we're not charging. We are charging crime, we are taking care of the problems, and we are making the community safer.
Sure. Sure. Well, my experience is in Walworth County, and in Walworth County I know that we're charging crimes when they come in that warrant charging. We're not taking felony cases and charging them as misdemeanors to get them into programs. We're not trying to cram cases into programs. We're doing what's necessary to keep people safe.
So then this is my last question. Can you both tell me your approach to dealing with plea bargains?
This one's mine.
I guess that'd be yours. Okay.
My position on plea bargaining is it's our job as prosecutors to do what's right and to do what's fair. So there are, in most cases, a prosecutor should make an offer to a defendant and their attorney to talk about, which is a fair outcome. It's our job to seek justice. It's up to a defendant and their attorney to decide whether or not to take that offer. If they don't want to take it, then we should have a trial. That's why in Walworth County we have a very high trial rate, and I think that's a good thing. It helps to make sure that there is justice for victims, to make sure that people are held accountable for their actions, and to make sure that our cases move through the system